Every parent wants their child to succeed. That's why we were concerned when our oldest son, Cory, had problems learning to read and write. It started as early as kindergarten with writing letters upside down and backwards. As he got older, the struggle became worse and worse, and then we had teacher conferences. We had where he was falling behind, getting D's and F's, and me coming in, talking with teachers, trying to figure out a solution, if it was a behavioral problem, if it was a learning problem. And that's where we discovered that he was tested for dyslexia, and it was confirmed about 6th grade.
I've looked over the words or whatever, maybe Spanish, science, English, and I wouldn't get it. I would always forget it when I was there. It wouldn't stay there in my head. It would go out in through one ear and out the other.
And the school system wanted to put him in special ed, and they also recommended putting him on medication, which I strongly disagreed with.
Me and my mom worked a lot harder just to keep me above the line where they try and put you into that class.
So to try to help Cory to be able to stay in the mainstream, I told the teacher I would do whatever it took to keep him at that level. I would come pick him up from school, we would get all the necessary material, we would work hours, 2 to 3 hours a night, studying tests, going over material. I would take him back to school, make sure he turned everything in. So I was very hands-on. He was working 2 to 3 times harder than maybe the average child would have. I heard about Dynamic Learning Service when I was at the gym, and I was waiting for my husband to finish up, and I just happened to reach over and grab a magazine. And there was an article in there that it was like they were describing exactly our son. The problems that were listed on there, it just called to my heart that this might be the answer.
2 of the main things that affect learning are auditory processing and visual processing, and that's what makes up dyslexia. So dyslexia, when clients come to me with dyslexia, I address the auditory piece. An auditory processing disorder is the ability for the brain to perceive, analyze, remember, and comprehend auditory information. So it's not hearing the loudness of a particular sound, which a lot of people think that's what it is, but it's actually once the sound travels to the inner ear, the process from the inner ear to the brain, the information doesn't always get processed correctly.
With Cory, the different sound frequencies of the teachers, he would do better in some classes and really bad in other classes. And what we found out in the testing really was that the sound of the teacher's voice would really affect his learning because he wasn't processing the information at that sound frequency.
Cory presented with a severe auditory processing disorder. Hearing sounds and sound changes he could not do well. As far as comprehension and memory, it was extremely poor, even to the point where his mother reported that he was not remembering his own phone number.
So the therapy it's easy. It was almost too good to be true. We came in 3 times a week for an hour and 20 minutes, and Cory sat down in this room and he got to play games, puzzles, and he listened to music that was specially programmed for what his brain needed, and Janelle and Tom describe it as food for the brain. The brain is getting fed what it needs to change.
What Dr. Tomatis found was that different sound frequencies, when the brain is stimulated by these frequencies, certain areas improve. As an example, with low frequencies, coordination, knowing right and left, knowing where you are in space, your balance, handwriting, organization skills, for some reason, by stimulating low frequencies, these things were shown to improve in person after person. In the middle frequencies, and we're testing 0 to 8,000 hertz, so the mid of those frequencies correlates with attention and anything academic, visual processing, auditory processing, communication, language. So those are very important frequencies.
By probably the 5th or 6th session, we started noticing just little things, just things like him being more aware, remembering things, helping us. If I said, Cory, can you go get a fork and a spoon and a plate, you would actually come back with a fork and a spoon and a plate, and you wouldn't go into the kitchen and go, now, what was that I was supposed to get?
The way the brain works for comprehension and memory is that the left hemisphere of the brain hears and reads words, and the right hemisphere makes pictures. So when you're reading, you should actually be having a movie happening in your head and seeing that movie. The brain only holds onto 7 non-meaningful units of information at a time, the typical brain. Every word is non-meaningful until it's pictured. Therefore, if you have a child that's in a classroom and they're not making pictures in their head, after 7 words uttered by the teacher, they're going to be off track. So we teach people to actually make pictures in their head.
And now it's just unbelievable. He has A's and B's. He's on the phone calling his friends saying, hey, what did you get on that test? I got an A. And his self-esteem is shot through the roof. He started dating, he's got more friends, he's more active in school, and he's alive. He's in the moment.
I have A's and B's instead of F's and D's at this moment because you can understand the teachers, and it's pretty good.
I think of it as a fork in the road, that he could have taken the path that was a struggle, and a struggle for money, a struggle for a career, a struggle for a wife, a struggle for a family, just all these struggles, and now it's just like no more struggles. He's just on the road to success, and I get kind of emotional. So the idea came to me to start a charity, help these kids, help them get into these programs that they need to make them more successful, and not just shuffle them through the system and put them on drugs and in special ed. So I came up with Kids Success Foundation. So exciting, all that we're doing. We're raising money to help these kids get the help that they need, and by bringing all of us together, by all of your donations, by all of us helping, we can change a child's life for forever.